Hey guys, John here. In this video, we have an 8-gang panel switch from Cali Raised to install on the Tacoma. But not only that, we have a very cool OEM style dashboard mount from Runnin For Tacos to hold that 8-switch accessory panel from Cali Raised. Let's get into it. All right, so a little bit of unboxing real quick. This is definitely like a universal switch, but Cali Raised puts their name back behind this one. So we have a 8-gang switch panel controller. We have the module right here, and you can see with the fuses too, so it'll just depend on what you want to do to each one. We have a 30 amp fuse down there going all the way down to 5. Then we also have our mounting here. We have the switch panel itself, which is going to go in the cab of the Tacoma, our add fuse, and then also we have this. This is a mount that is going to replace a portion of the dashboard, and this switch panel from Cali Raised will fit perfectly in it, and we will also be able to retain all of our OEM switches right here, and a nice little logo from Runnin For Tacos. So since this mount is universal, it doesn't perfectly line up with the Tacoma, so I don't want to drill into my truck at all. So for ease of installation then, I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to mount it on top of the fuse panel. I'm not going to drill into it or anything like that. Just going to use some good double back adhesive tape, put it onto that way all my wires can come here to the battery, the add fuse can go in there to the INJ fuse, and then everything else will just go back into the cab. Okay, so I got the circuit control box on, and it's on there for sure. Did the add fuse, since we're going to be putting it into the fuse box, put some heat shrink on that. Then I also put some heat shrink on this. Now the cool thing is this is the only thing that is going to go through our firewall. So we do plan to put a lot of lights onto this Tacoma, so it's nice that we're only going to have one thing going through the firewall for the controller. And with the add fuse, just make sure that you add an extra 10 amp fuse. And then looking at the Tacoma's fuse box, we're going to take the add fuse and just set it right here. And there's a closer look for you guys. Okay, so I have the lid back on, and I have it properly grounded. I grounded it to the sidewall of the fender right here instead of just to the battery. And now we are going to send our wiring harness through down here. So Toyota gives us a nice little grommet right there in the firewall. We're just going to pop that out and then to go ahead and send our harness through. So I picked up this black rubber grommet assortment kit on Amazon because when you take this off, all you have is just sheet metal around it. So I'm going to put this grommet on it instead. That way it allows you to put your wire through and it not get all chafed up on your firewall. So took this one out, not going to need it anymore. And then going to put this guy in its place. With that grommet out, you could take a flathead screwdriver, but I did a scribe just because the insulation is pretty thick on the Tacoma, to go ahead and poke a hole through the insulation of the grommet that you took out. And then coming into the pedal area, you could see right there at the center of the screen where the scribe will come out. So I just took a little knife and cut up all the insulation around it. That's where our harness is going to come through. All right, so with the hole made, a little trick that I like to do is take the harness that you're about to send through, get yourself a pretty decent sturdy zip tie, tape it up, and then that way you just have to send the zip tie through, catch it, and just yank this whole harness through the firewall. So with our harness through, we're now gonna focus on taking off this OEM panel because we're gonna put our switch panel here from Runnin For Tacos. So in order to do this, just get your hand kind of back behind the steering column here, pop this out. It is all held in by these plastic tabs here. So once you have it out, go ahead and unplug all the switches from the back. And then an easy way to do this is to take a plastic pry tool, because we're going to be taking off, all this OEM part, and then just take the plastic pry tool to start pulling the OEM portion out of its little plastic clamps back there. So with the OEM panel out right here on the right hand side, we're not going to need this support anymore. So however you want to cut this plastic out, all right here. So just kind of follow the line around like where my finger's at. You're gonna cut that one out. And that's what it should look like when they're both gone. I took the tabs out over here as well on the passenger side, just to make sure that the clearance for the box will fit. All right, now with the OEM panel here, and then the one from Runnin For Tacos, I went ahead and put my switch panel into it. 4 screws in the back. You can tell that our little jellyfish launcher right here on the Runnin For Taco ones is vertical, whereas this one is horizontal down here. So go ahead and flip this over, and we're just going to transfer everything over. So this comes with a little foam piece, because we're going to utilize all of the mechanics right here on this one. All you have to do is just pop out old switches like that. Fairly easy. So pop them all out. So with all the OEM switches out, we're now going to get the cargo light switch out. So it's a little bit more difficult than just pushing the other ones out. But you go ahead and take a flathead screwdriver. You see the little pins right here. Go ahead and put the flathead up under, kind of depressing down a little bit from the front, like pushing down. And then you saw it pop off. So we're gonna push down again on this side a little bit. Screwdriver up.
And then there we go. So it has to push out backwards like that. All right, and then with the switch out, I just went ahead and used my thumb and I was able to pull it out. Now you're gonna notice on the switch itself, we have kind of like a little nub and then like a little hook. If you look deep in here, you can see on the right-hand side, that's where the little hook's gonna go back in, and the nub would like be right here on the left-hand side. Same sort of thing. You're just gonna apply pressure to pop the cap off. All right, now with the new faceplate on, we're just gonna go ahead, remember to put the little hook down towards the right-hand side, line it up, push it down. Good, now we'll just take our Runnin For Tacos mount, go ahead and put all of our switches in, however you wanna line up your switches. Maybe you want your AC one over here. So however you want to lay it out. All right, there we go. And I was able to find a spare blank that I had. So just keep in mind if you're going to need a blank, look at your truck. But I was able to also put the stickers up top. I'm going to leave these blank right now because I do have more stuff to put on the Tacoma, but I'm going to put the bigger light bars with the bigger fuse. So I was just looking at this compared to the instructions on where I'm gonna wanna put the lights. So now time to install this into the Taco. All right, gonna go ahead and connect the harness. Make sure you send the harness through this hole right here. And then as we set it into place, make sure that you connect all your OEM harnesses back into your switches. All right, I have all the harnesses into place. Don't worry about remembering where each one goes. They fit into only one of the switches. Go ahead and put the dash into place first. Make it easier. All right, so I'm having a little bit of trouble pushing it in, which means I need to trim up this, unfortunately, a little bit more. So this really needs to be flush, it seems like, to allow this to go in well, because you could see how we're pushing right here. So I'm just gonna trim this up some more, making sure that all of this is nice and clean all through here to allow for this to go in well. All right, and it's in. So push really hard. Trimmed up a little bit more plastic just to make sure that this went, but then you really gotta force it in. But man, take a look. So super OEM looking, nice and flush. We have our switch panel here that we're about to put some more lights on. Our jellyfish launcher works, our cargo lights, turn it on. We got our cargo lights in the back. And then all of our switches down here work too, 360 camera view and stuff. And then we got our dummy panel. All right, now all we have to do is just connect the positive to the positive terminal here, again with the provided hardware, and then we're gonna connect it to the positive right here on the battery. And whatever you wanna hook into this thing is super simple. So you have your positive and negative leads from whatever lights. This is for my Raptor lights in my grill. And then you go in here, you can see it's labeled. This one reads 8, so 5, 6, 7, 8. It will be number 8 on the switch, and it also has your positive and negatives right here, so negative right there. All you'll do is just unscrew these up, put your negative lead into negative, positive into positive, and then just use the switch to make it work. All right, and you can see that my ambers aren't on. Click it, ambers in the grill. Click it again, off. And this is what it looks like from here. So I have grill for these lights on. So that's pretty cool, because then that way you don't always have to run with Raptor lights on your Tacoma.
So that's it, guys, on how to install the CaliRaised 8 gang switch for the Tacoma, and also the Runnin For Tacos bezel OEM replacement, which is super sick, a collaboration between them and Miso Customs. High quality, awesome stuff. So time to put a roof rack on, ditch lights, front bumper, tons of stuff for this Tacoma, but I wanted to get that out of the way first. And I'll catch you all in the next one. All right, see you later.